From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. LA told you a major program would be announced in the next 24 hours, and it happened. Tonight, a major program gets into this recon, and the latest details, it's happening. Here we go as a big deal of the recon and your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 heats up tonight. What provision is it? Well, here we go. A deal's happening for that recon, and it's getting bigger and bolder. 3.75? Well, no, we're going to go higher than that. I told you we may go higher. And a vote is happening as early as this end of this week, and so what's going on? What's going in? Paid leave. I told you, paid leave got into the recon. Announced minutes ago, the breaking news tonight, then student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven, and then the exciting details of this stimulus. This is why you tune into this channel, because I tell you far before it happens, and boy, what a night it is, because paid leave is going into your fourth stimulus recon. The announcement's official from Nancy Pelosi, and it shows you how the voting process detailed on Afternoons LA 2 hours before this is totally a different narrative than 24 hours ago. Calling the vote, putting the provisions in, and having the senators deal with it. What does this mean? I explained in tonight's recording. 24 hours ago, cheaper medication costs got in there. Tonight, paid leave is going there. Tonight, potentially later in the evening, SALT could be added in there. And then what about those MSC monthly stimulus checks? I have all the incredible details as we go into a big evening. The toast was toasting this morning. Tonight, the surf is up, and the stimulus is far from over as we go into a big evenings of Evenings LA, starting right here, right now, direct from Santa Monica, California, on Evenings LA. About a major breaking news tonight with a deal happening on that recon. And the voting is happening as well. The voting could happen by the end of this week. And the price tag is not staying at 1.75. In fact, it's going higher. What's going on? And what are the programs? The program going in tonight is paid leave, and it's not free. It ain't free, and that means that the price tag is going higher. But I thought Joe Manchin said he doesn't want it in there. Well, this is what I told you on Afternoons LA 2 hours before that. The details now coming together. Breaking news tonight. I'll explain everything across the board. Student loan debt forgiveness, and then COLA raises for fifth stimulus right behind this as well. Boy, we got a big evenings broadcast across the board. I'm really excited you're here because this was a very fluid situation. It's far from over, and I told you these things were going to happen. And this, my friends, is Lalate. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, because no one shows you the breadth of reporting, accurate, ahead of time, breaking, and inside information nowhere else than here. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's go over the incredible details. The recon passed a subcommittee 3 weeks ago at a price tag of $3.5 trillion, and that recon has clusters of checks, over 3 clusters of them subdivided. And those clusters of checks pay you a lot of money. If you're a viewer of this channel, you have found the right place, because those clusters of checks will pay you upwards of about $15,000 of checks in this recon. Those clusters of checks pay out about $15,000 for all the viewers generally of this channel, whether you're single or married, whether you have kids or you don't have kids. And those 3 clusters of checks, we're going to go over the status of each of those that pay out about $15,000 to your pocket. Starting right now. Here we go, as paid. Everything in cluster number 1 survived from that House subcommittee, the negotiations this week, and are surviving tonight. If it's I say a provision is in or out, I'm referring to at the time of this recording. Hazard pay in there. That is my earned income tax credit for my essential workers. 1 more year of this. $4,000 of elder care got in there. $4,000 to care for young children. Then they got the money in there to repair the homes for low-income community. It's in there as well. Those are free checks to you for repair of the home. Yes. great news. Pell's Grant, college students will get additional $550 checks to you. Then they got money in there for the CTC, one more year, $3,600 if you have a child and you're low income, or $3,000 depending on the age of the child. Then they got money in there for bikes, cars, and trucks, all made electric, all U.S. auto manufactured, 15% for the purchase price, $7,500 if it's for electric. Those are the first clusters of checks, all to you, all passed, and all still in there. Let's go to the first add-on. Remember, we have 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. So the first add-on was the $25,000 from Maxine Waters, not likely surviving. That was for the first home of your purchase. It's not surviving, but the other provisions that concern around that, which are housing provisions, surviving. At about $175 billion of housing aid in this recon, that's $175 billion of checks to you. The second round of checks concern weatherizing your home, yes. And let's go over the second cluster of checks and the status of those tonight. And you heard it in the opening remarks. Paid family leave and medical leave in there. Wow, this is a lot of money. Then the pre-kindergarten in there, checks for pre-kindergarten, tuition, community college out, then weatherize your home in there, and then money for tax hold and household tax credits. The paid family leave, it is going to pay a lot of money. I'm going to do the analysis for you later in this video, but it's about $1,000 a week over 4+ weeks. That's several thousands of dollars, about $4,000 of checks directly to you. The pre-kindergarten, 1 year of checks for that as well. And then the weatherize your home. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if Meghan Markle comes knocking. Why would Meghan Markle be knocking for your stimulus? Because guess what? She's advocating for stimulus. Yes, I have that coming up in a little bit of this video. It's just, LA royalty, Santa Barbara royalty. It's just the same sort of thing. Let's go to the second cluster of those, the second add-on, and it got it in there. Huge. This is the paid home healthcare. Then this is not a check to you. This is a free offering that is paid to the city, county, state, and then they're going to offer to you. What is it? Free home healthcare. Free home healthcare. If you're a senior or a person on disabilities, this is the Bob Casey, $250 billion he wanted in there. And how does it work? They give money to city, county, state so they can offer you free home healthcare if you're single, if you're on disabilities, or you're a senior. The price tag, not $250, a little bit less. But there you go. Wow. Let's go to the third cluster checks, the ones that got in there. Let's go over what they are and what their status is tonight. Did they all survive? They did not. So let's go to the third cluster, starting right now. Free school meals for all checks. They got that in there, including $65 a month when school is not in session. Cheaper prescription medication. They got it in there. Those checks coming up in a second. Then immigration reform. They got it in there. Free internet. I don't know. The farmers checks. I don't know. Clean energy out. Workers protection. I don't know. When I say I don't know if it's still in there. And then the expansion of Medicare, dental, vision, and hearing. Let me go over all the details of that right now. So the status on that tonight still remains that the dental is out, the vision is out, and the hearing is in. Checks for hearing either by voucher or just providing you free hearing aids. But more about that in a second, which brings us to our third cluster of checks, and I got a story about this one. That third add-on, and that third add-on is the monthly stimulus check, MSC. When you look at that MSC, it all surrounds adding parts to legislation. When you look at the recon, we started the day with no paid leave or family leave in there. Tonight it's in there, and it will pay you thousands of dollars. We started yesterday with no prescription medication in there, and by the end of the day, it was in there. Guess who is making phone calls today to advocate for inclusion of items into the stimulus recon? The Duchess of Cambridge. Yes, the Duchess herself. Did I get the right location? I think that's where she is. Meghan Markle. The Duchess Meghan Markle was actually calling Joe Manchin today, arguing for what she needed in the recon. I am not kidding. This is not a joke. So, I'm not making this up. I'm in my car. I'm driving. It says caller ID blocked. Honestly, I thought it was Senator Manchin. His calls come in blocked, and he says, "Is this Meghan Markle?" And I say, "Yes, it is." I couldn't figure out how she got my number. Then later, he told Capitol Hill. Susan Collins reportedly also got a phone call from Meghan Markle. So why is Meghan Markle advocating for stimulus? Because Kristen Gillibrand, who is the Democrat from New York, actually gave out people's phone numbers, gave out cell phone numbers for senators to Meghan Markle to start making the phone call for putting provisions into the recall. I talked to each of the women senators and let them know that she's going to reach out to them because she's only completed 2 of the calls, said Gillibrand. So Gillibrand admitted that it should happen. She's going to call some others, so I let them know in advance. Well, that's very nice. I went on Twitter and I tweeted Senator Gillibrand, send me some phone numbers. I will make some phone calls. I'm not calling voicemails. I'm calling direct people. So go on Twitter and retweet Gillibrand and say, tell Lalate he will make phone calls for you. And I will take Joe Manchin out for dinner myself, if that helps. And that comes as Markle is pushing for paid leave to be included. But Joe Manchin appreciated the phone call, did not appreciate the advocacy. There we go. That is why it's important to advocate, because guess what? Maybe she's watching this channel. Maybe the Duchess is watching Sirloin. Maybe they know each other. It's royalty, the Duchess Sirloin, but here we go. I can't believe I'm recording this. So 3 million Americans have been calling on behalf of the Purple Power, and you need to continue to advocate whether you are a Duchess or a Sir. And here's what that message says. Now they have, between congressional senators' office, received more advocacies from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition, 3 million. So for every Brent reporter who wants to report on the American petition, report on us, because we have made more calls than they even have signatures in the petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories. Now they have a better understanding of what Americans are going through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories from the LA viewers. By the way, who wrote this? This is coming from the chief of staff to the number 1 person in the recon. They have heartbreaking stories from the LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people in LA, as you have become too loud to be ignored. Well, yeah, if I'm too loud to be ignored, tell Gillibrand to give me some phone numbers. I will make some phone calls. I'll even get on the plane if she wants me to get on the plane. I will do it. Continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become, Lalate, and continue until this becomes law. We started the day with someone in the Mornings Lalate video saying, why would you advocate if it's not in there? I wish that person had said that to the Duchess. Why are you calling for paid leave if it's not in there? It's not going in there. I told you that since last Wednesday, Bernie was spending every single hour of his waking breath to get provisions in there for cheaper prescription medication. I told you that Nancy was doing the same thing for paid leave, and guess what? They both got their provisions in there. So continue to advocate across the board. In the second half of this video, you are going to see a lot of surreal moments, like Twilight Zone moments like this continuing, because it literally is very peculiar. People are asking me, how can we have a deal happening if we also have a vote, but we don't have all the legislation yet done? All the latest details, why a vote is happening as early as tomorrow and potentially Thursday night with the recon. Again, potentially as Thursday night. And why the price tag is no longer 1.75. We're likely to go higher, maybe 1.95. What does this mean? And the program's in, program's out. You saw the lead in tonight. Paid leave and paid medical leave in. This is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for you. And this is huge. This comes after the big win yesterday to put prescription medication in there. I'll have my insight as the situation, because it takes a lot of explanation why this is so fluid and why it looks a little messy. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven, and the latest details of that fifth stimulus right behind that. As we go into a big evening, the exciting details is you don't need to stroll on the pier. Just get Kristen Gillibrand to give you some numbers. Or have her give me some numbers, and the details coming up in the second half of this video. Stay with me as Evenings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now, direct from Santa Monica, as the deal's happening on the recon, and the voting will happen as early as tomorrow. Out of the latest details tonight. It's huge. 1.75. We could be going to 1.95. What happened? Programs in, programs out. Seem a little confusing? I'll explain the details in tonight's recording. It's a very fluid situation across the board. And then we turn to student loan debt. More debt could be forgiven. And what about fifth stimulus? Get ready for fifth stimulus, which is right behind that as well. It comes after your COLA raise. Those details as we go into a big evening across the board. I'm real excited for you. And my friends, this is Evenings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, and now approaching 420,000. Meantime, 140 million views in a year and a half. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown, and then at 7 o'clock, History and Stimulus. Our new 3-hour programming block. Sit back and be informed about all the big money that'll pay you about $15,000 of checks across this incredible recon. And here we go into the second half of this video. The incredible details tonight are that what I had signaled to you throughout the day is now happening. What did I signal to you? Because let me explain to this what's going on, because it makes no sense unless you get an explanation first before I tell you the breaking news. What I told you this morning was that we now see what's changing in the last 24 hours. 24 hours ago, we would have said, you don't call the vote on the recon if the provisions aren't done. You finish all the provisions and then you call the vote on the recon. Remember? Not the case this morning, not the case on afternoons right before this. I said to you, totally different mindset among the Democrats, progressives especially. Call the vote on the recon and force people to make a decision, yes or no, because we're seeing a little bit too much of potential gameplay, too much of potential. Yeah, I sort of really don't like that. Well, do you like it, dislike it enough to vote it down, or you just don't like it? Uncomfortable or ready to vote against it? You're going to see later in this video comments from Bernie Sanders that said, I'm calling people's bluff. I don't think you're really against it. I just sort of think you're just hemming and hawing about a lot of stuff. Well, that's what's happening tonight in the breaking news statement you're hearing for the first time this evening on Evenings LA. The statement came out from Nancy Pelosi about 20 minutes ago. And in the statement from Nancy Pelosi, she announces that she is inserting on the House bill of the recon the paid leave, paid medical leave. What is paid leave? Paid leave is paid family leave. You just have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. You want to watch the birth of your first son. If you want it currently, you can't unless you want to pay for it yourself. The employer does not have to pay for it. It's on your dollar. Paid medical leave. You just have to stay home because you have to take your wife to chemotherapy. At the moment, you don't get paid for that. Let's say you have to go to chemotherapy. You don't get paid for that. It's on your dollar. We're the only modern U.S. country that does not, any modern country, first world, that does not offer this. Paid leave and paid medical leave. So who's against this? Joe Manchin says, I don't like it. It costs too much. More about this in a second. So Nancy Pelosi, in my opinion tonight, is calling the bluff on Joe Manchin. She's inserting the provision into the House bill, knowing he says, I don't like it. Yeah, so she's basically saying, how much do you really not like it? Because I don't get a sense you dislike it enough that you're going to vote it down. The House Ways and Means Committee has crafted a policy that will finally give workers and their families the peace of mind of knowing that when the disaster strikes, they can get paid for paid leave and total crises. We do this responsibly, fully paying for the means-tested program. How much will it cost? It's not $100 billion. It's $200 billion. Yes. So a $1.75 trillion recon is potentially tonight $1.95 trillion. It will occur, and who will get paid for it? I'm going to go over the details of it right now and then visit it again later in this video. It will be for all workers wishing to take time off because of the birth of a newborn child, care for a family member, death, or an illness or an injury beginning in the year 2024. This will be a lot of money, and it's a lot more than the $100 billion, which I have been telling you over the last 2 days that she left it last on the table. It was last on the table at $100 billion. She took it off, took it out. It's back in at $200 billion. So she issued a statement, a very, very long statement. You can read it on her website minutes ago. And she said she has planned for the Rules Committee hearing, but she had planned for the Rules Committee hearing on the legislation on Monday, but suggestions kept on coming in. And then we started introducing amendments for changes. Among the changes were this provision. I've recommended Committee Chairman John Yarmouth in his legislation to insert this provision. And as the word gathers around the globe, it's important to put that provision in there. Well, this comes as Joe Manchin says he's not moving. He's not putting that provision in there. She says in her letter to Democrats that a senator of opposition to a few of the priorities, that there is a senator of opposition to a few of the priorities contained in our bill, but we're not taking them out. Yes, so this is a totally different mindset. It is an approach that says, if there's something we want to put in there, we're not going to not put it in there because someone says don't put it in there. We're going to put it in there, and if you want to take it out, you take it out. Very, very fascinating change across the board. The day started with me reporting the news that that last night they got the big other deal, which is cheaper prescription medication. Look at how big these numbers are. First, paid leave and medical leave. How much does it pay? If you got $70,000 or more per year, this could be upwards of $1,700 a week, a check to you. Then, if you made $35,000 a year, it could be upwards of a check of $800 a week to you. If you make $15,000 a year, it could be upwards of a $400 a week check to you. But now let's go to the cheaper medication costs. This is an instant savings to you immediately. What are the details of it? Jaw-dropping. The details of it is, for the first time in the history of Medicare, in 20 years, Medicare will be able to deliver you cheaper prescription medication costs than ever before. If you're a senior and you're on Medicare, you pay for prescription medication costs at a certain price. Who's determining the price? The pharmaceutical companies. Can't Medicare negotiate it? No. For 20 years, it has been blocked by the pharmaceutical companies and their lobbyists because the existing law said Medicare has to just sort of pay whatever they're asked to pay. No longer the law. Tonight, the law is that 30 prescription medications, the most important ones, including medication for cancer and arthritis, will be negotiable prices, bringing them down astronomically. And those continue through 2028 at an inflation rate step up of only the 2021 levels of inflation. The reaction tonight is huge. Ron Wyden says it's big because things like a $35 per dose cap on insulin is the new rate, unlike thousands of dollars. What will cover? It'll cover Medicare Plan B and Medicare Plan D. And this is a provision and a win for the Democrats that has been fought by the pharmaceutical companies for 2 decades. This is a real sign of progress, says Wyden. Here's the statement from Chuck Schumer. We've heard from the people across the country that have serious illnesses and can't afford their medicine. Today we have a massive step forward in helping alleviate the problem. It's not everything, but it's a great step forward. Kristen Sinema is the person who had instrumentally stalled it out. But the person who got the win for you, Joe Biden. Wednesday night, the President of the United States made the phone call to Kristen Sinema and said, you got to add this provision in there. We got to do it. She agreed, and now it's becoming finality. Dick Durbin says, I would have preferred a little bit stronger, that this is a great beginning. Then Scott Peters, Democrat from California, says it's really good for seniors. Lobbyists were really trying to push back. Jan Shacklesy says they have a very powerful influence and it's very good what we got despite the situation. And then Ron Wyden said seniors just don't have unlimited funds in their wallets to get these sums of money. This is a huge win. What happened? Now your medication instantly, the day this becomes law, will have new, cheaper rates if you're on Medicare across the board for Part B and Part D. And they can't step them up any more than the inflation rate for many, many years. But many of the legislators said that this is just a starting point, that they're likely to go back and revise this and do it more even next year, bringing it down even across the board. The Price is Right, 7.5. Well, tonight we're not. Tonight we're potentially going to 1.95. What happened? I had told you over the last 2 days that certain provisions were going back in. I told you that cheaper prescription medication going in. It's in. I told you as of 2 hours ago that paid leave was going in. I was right again. It went in. And now I'm telling you the last one that's going in is SALT. SALT is a provision that helps everyone. It is the lifting of the cap of state and local tax deductions in big states like California, New York, New Jersey, and Texas. The leader of this is Gothenheimer. He's the Goth group. And that Goth group of moderate Democrats have wooed House Democrats for a while. They're all House Democrats to put that provision in there. It's a great provision. It helps people. I think it's going to get in there. And the last remaining provision that's in there that I think is going to come out is the provision for immigration reform. Now, the immigration reform, the paid leave, the medication, also the assault, is part of the changing narrative tonight, which I had first debuted at 9 a.m. live on air this morning on Mornings LA. If you watch that show, the very first video today, I started by saying, it's different today. It's now different. How is it different? You're going to see a quote late in this video where Bernie Sanders says, if you oppose it, then oppose it. I need to get these things to a vote to see who's really opposing. And I used these provisions as an example. I said, one, are people really opposed to the paid leave on the House side? So much so that they would vote against the recon if it's not in there? Well, tonight, what is Nancy Pelosi doing? She's putting it in there because she believes that when you send this over to the Senate, that Joe Manchin will cave, will fold like a lawn chair, and will not oppose it. It just looks horrible. It looks horrible that as a senator, you're telling people who are pregnant and home and giving birth that you have to do it on your own dollar because he says it costs too much money. It doesn't look good. It's a bad look. She's betting on the thought that he's not going to oppose it when it goes for a vote. The SALT, the Gothenheimer group called the Goth Gang, they will oppose the recon on the House side if it does not have it in there. I think it will go in there, and there's no senators I've heard that are against it. Then the immigration reform, very, very fascinating situation on that one. It's likely that the Senate parliamentarian will rule first about it, and I think the Senate parliamentarian is going to remove it. What is Nancy dealing with on the House side? We have more House Democrats opposed to its inclusion than House Democrats supporting its inclusion. So those House Democrats opposing its inclusion are reportedly set to vote against the recon if it's included. But Nancy may not have to decide that. It may actually be removed by the Senate parliamentarian. This is why when we talked about 1.75, I said for over a week it could go higher. Tonight we're looking at 1.95 with that paid leave at a price tag of $200 billion. Programs in and programs out. I had told you since last Friday that Bernie said there's some major gaps, quote, some major gaps in the recon. And the quotes kept on coming on in. What the House members and the senators did were the following. Starting on last week, they deferred to the senators to say, do you want stuff in there? And then House members had proposals as well. So what happened differently in the last 24 hours is that now, if people want stuff in there, House is putting it in there. Kitchen sinks, start adding stuff in there. You want to take it out, leave it to the senators to take it out because the senators were adding stuff in there. Here come the comments. Ron Wyden says, the deal's not done to the Senate acts. And then Ron Wyden says, there's a significant amount of work to be done. Chris Coon says there could be changes. Jolipal said her phone was lighting up off the hook all weekend long. And then AOC said there's a lot of negotiations. Stable now said, I don't see it. I see changes happening. And Chuck's dealing with the provisions across the board, especially immigration reform coming out. If it comes out, then the money can be reallocated. And Murphy saying that changes are coming across the board. So where are those changes and what is the price tag? Let's talk about that part of the discussion, which is very, very fluid. On the weekend, I told you there was something wrong with the recon. And what was something wrong with the recon was the following. Was that I was seeing in notes about the framework of the recon released by broadcast media, the words permanent, permanent, permanent. Nothing's permanent. They're 1 year programs or 2 year programs. Why do they say 1 or 2 year programs and yet say the word permanent? I said there's something not lining up here. Then I also said some of these numbers don't match my notes about what the negotiations involving. On Monday, Joe Manchin confirmed my reporting, basically saying someone is trying to turn these 1 or 2 year programs into 20 year programs, 30 year programs, which instead of 1.7 trillion We're at 17.5 trillion. Yeah, the recon would absolutely be a behemoth of decades of trillions of dollars. So let's go over the analysis right together right now and go program by program and see where these numbers lie and where they don't lie. So they're going to be checks for you for pre-kindergarten. If you have a child, you'll get a check to send a child to pre-kindergarten for 3 to 4 year olds for 1 year. Next, if you have a child, you will get the earned income tax credit of $3,600 or $3,000. Here comes the first warning signal. My notes show $60,000. So why is broadcast media seeing $150,000? I don't think that's the case. Earned income tax credit. If you're a essential worker, you can get another round of those checks, that money as well. And here comes the big red flag. Home health care. Watch this sentence. See what's wrong in the sentence. You ready? Permanently improving Medicare's coverage with home health care services included for seniors and people with disabilities. No, it's not a permanent provision. So why is the White House calling it permanent? Something was wrong, and I think that's what Joe Manchin latched onto. Next, let's go to some home repairs. They got $150 billion of checks in there for rehabbing, construction, and improvement of homes in low-income communities. They got a $550 checks, and those would go to college students with the Pell Grant. Then they got checks of $65 a month to children, to parents of childs that have to stay home from school during the summer, and then while they're in school, free school meals for all checks. So where's the next battleground? I've been detailing that over the last 2 days. I believe the next battleground is dental and vision. Bernie said about a week ago that we're the oldest country, that we're the wealthiest country, and yet people have no teeth in their mouth. They have no hearing aid. Everything must be included in there. So let's go over some of the calculations of that right tonight. First, they have 3 items: dental, vision, dental, hearing, and vision. Dental the most expensive, then hearing, then vision. Well, it makes no sense that vision is not in there. It's the cheapest provision for Medicare recipients. What is vision? Vision is eyeglasses. How much is vision? Vouchers, checks to you of $50 for an eye exam and $100 for some glasses. Very, very simple per year. $150 voucher. Very simple to do it. Why can't they do it at $150 a year? That makes a perfect sense across the board, and it would help a lot of people because a lot of people need eyeglasses when you're on Medicare, when you're senior. Number 2, they got hearing aids in there. So not clear if it's a voucher or just a coverage for it. Those hearing aids would be totally free for people who are seniors on Medicare. Finally, dental. Dental is the most expensive provision. And this is taking a lot of twists and turns. The president wants it in there. He wanted 10 years of it, so does Bernie. Then it was down to 3 years. So does Bernie. Then it was just down to vouchers. They wouldn't give you $850 checks per year for dental. Well, tonight is out, but I think this is really the last battleground. We've seen one win after another over the last 24 hours. First, prescription medication, then paid leave and medical leave. This is expected to be the third battleground if it's not solved. I believe this one is going to go in next. All right, let's go to the next provisions across the board. And here we're going to pull on our notes and we'll see where things don't line up and where things do line up in these numbers. Child tax credit. So my notes show it is 1 year, $60,000 if you make $60,000 or less. I don't show it's for parents who make $150,000 or less. Community college out. Pell Grant $550 checks to you if you're on the Pell Grant. The dropping of eligibility of Medicare, not happening. I don't see that happening. That was supposed to be 60 if you're Bob Casey or Bernie, went at 55. Paid leave. All right, let's go over the numbers. Well, paid leave, Nancy originally wanted 12 weeks for everyone, self-employed and gig workers running for a decade at $500 billion. The last time she had it in there before it was removed, this was the calculation. $100 billion. Tonight's $200 billion. So it was $100 billion, is half the price. And it was 4 weeks, low income and employees only. How did she get to $200 billion? We don't know at the moment. I potentially will have it tomorrow on Lalate. What is difference between the 4 weeks low income and employees only at $100 billion versus what it is tonight at $200 billion? It is either she added more weeks or she included now all people of all income levels, or she included self-employed. What I was recommending was to at least include low-income, self-employed, and gig workers as well, because if you're an Uber Lyft driver and you're low income, well, why are you excluded? It makes no sense. Nancy Pelosi, that's our hope that we get it back in. That's what we're fighting for, and she got it in there. Then, what else is going in? Well, prescription medication costs, you heard that. Then childcare got it in there, clean energy out, health insurance extended, housing aid, wow, $175 billion. This is a lot. Third stimulus was $47 billion. Now it's going to be $175 billion, although it includes also repairs and in-home healthcare. It is coming in 100 to 200 billion. That's why it's clearly not permanent, because it's only 100, 200 billion dollars. Wow, what a night it is. The day started with the comments coming in that we need to show progress, and boy, are they showing progress tonight. It was no joke. Here was what Shelley Moore Capito, who is a Republican from West Virginia, got in a phone call from the Duchess of Sussex. I said Cambridge. Did I say Cambridge? I said Cambridge. Sussex. Maybe the Duchess hasn't done her history yet. You don't call Republicans to negotiate for the provisions of the recon. No, you don't call Republican senators to ask for stuff in the recon. So she called a Republican senator, says, "Hi," and this is what Shelley Moore Capito tweeted. "I'm in my car, I'm driving, it says caller ID blocked. Honestly, I thought it was Senator Manchin. He calls him block, and then it goes Senator Capito?" I said, "Yes." She says, "Hi, it's Megan, the Duchess of Sussex." I couldn't figure out how she got my number, said Capito. Susan Collins, who's also a Republican, also got a call. See, this is why you don't send the Royals to it. You send the LA to do this. You send the purple power to make the phone calls. The Royal is calling Republican legislators to insert provisions of the recon? Who sent Megan to do this? Kristen Gillibrand admits, and she's a Democrat, she's from New York, not from California, said, "I talked to each of the women senators and let them know that she was going to reach out because of a complicated provision. She's going to call someone else in advance. She wants to be part of the working group on the paid leave. Long term, she wants to come to fruition." That's nice. What's Joe Manchin's response tonight? He says it should go by, he likes it, and it should go by bipartisanship. Oh, come on. See, this is what Bernie's talking about. So now let me go to my commentary. I'm going to put a little bit early in this video. My commentary from Bernie was, Bernie got a sense somewhere in the last few days that people are just that people are just bluffing. And so he basically said today, you know what, just call the vote. I just don't get what's going on here. He said the issue with Senator Manchin is if he chooses to vote, will he choose to vote in favor of the legislation or vote against it? This has dragged on for long enough. Time to call a vote. If people want to vote against it, then they have that right. What is Bernie doing? What Bernie is doing tonight is he's basically, what Bernie started teeing up potentially yesterday, now the House members are doing, is they're going to say, just call the vote. Just call the vote. You're playing a little bit too much of I don't like everything game. What do you like? The good news is that Manchin is gone. Manchin is gone. No, that's not hard. That sounds like a spice in the spice department. No, that is Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Tonight, there's indication that Kristen Sinema is done and is 100% on board with your recon. What happened? It was really where the devil in the details. I told you over the last 3 weeks that she was really focused on cheaper prescription medication. As soon as the president got that deal with her on Wednesday night last week, she was done. She's ready to go. You want to add stuff in there? Sure. She's for paid leave? Sure. Add it in there. She's on board. So the last remaining holdout that's very vocal is Joe Manchin. As the reports say today, and you've been with me for a year, this is a guy that always complains every step of the road, whatever you want to call it, complain or fester. But when you call the vote, he just votes in favor of stuff. He just votes in favor of it. So they're basically saying, call for a vote. If that quote from him tonight is more indication of it, it is. He says, I'm not really against paid leave. It just needs to go by bipartisanship. Yeah, you said for 3 months you were against paid leave. Then yesterday you said, I'm uncomfortable with it. Now you're like, well, I like it, but do it by bipartisanship. See, this is what Bernie's saying. You're not really against it. You're not really against it. You just sort of don't like it looking a certain way. Just call for a vote. Just call for a vote, because this is a little bit too much hemming and hawing. It's sort of like a person who goes to try on a purple shirt in the department store. You're like, well, the sleeves are a little bit, I wish the collar. Just call a vote. Just buy the shirt and put it on and go on set. Meantime, the incredible news is that more student loan debt could be forgiven across the board. Those student loan debts are offered at $10,000. The president has offered a $10,000 student loan debt to be forgiven among all U.S. citizens. The Democrats should take it and just run with it and come back and ask for more. The president first forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Then the president forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the nonprofit sector after graduation. And finally, the president forgave people who forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the public sector, city, county, and state and federal government 10 years after graduation. Democrats should take it. Finally, fifth stimulus. Boy, Jay Powell at Capitol Hill said the same thing I've been saying all month long about an hour ago. Inflation next year is going to be about 2 to 3%. I said about 1 to 3. He said about 2 to 3. This is huge, and this is why you want fifth stimulus. COLA, you got that letter from Treasury, from Social Security, I hope. It says that your benefits are going up 5.9% next year. But fifth stimulus is right behind it, and the Democrats want to tee it up for the midterm elections. It'll raise your benefits up a second time if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or health benefits. Then it'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. And yes, as I said, and as now Jay Powell said, look at about 2-3% next December 2022. That means you'll get this raise in January this coming year. Then when fifth stimulus becomes law, another lift, and then another lift as a benchmark is applied next December. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The membership link is in the video. I want you to become a member because third stimulus is back on. It never left. Let's read some of the incredible messages that came in from viewers in the last 24 hours that if you've had a success story, send me one as well. Someone sent me a beautiful message on Twitter. He got $2,000 of rent. I'll feature that tomorrow. So here comes Nicole. She reports the following. Hey, I had some time to share this with you, so I wanted to tell you that for third stimulus, we just got some money. We got $1,500 from a local nonprofit, plus Christmas assistance, plus for our children, plus $5,000 of delinquent medical bills paid, plus $10,000 of SNAP, plus $7,000 of state pandemic relief for rent and utilities. Thank you so much for everything you've done and continue to do. You are a breath of fresh air, and thank you so much for our blessing to us. Forever grateful, Nicole. I love her message because she took the recording but went a little bit beyond it. You saw that in there. She got assistance for her children. I don't really cover that. And she got medical bills paid by nonprofits. The same source I'm sending to her to, but asked for other items. You got to be pushy. You got to ask for other stuff. And then Marco, I featured on this channel a lot. He got $19,000 more, $19,500 more for utilities, and got his SNAP lifted by $28,000. Get that pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you the big money you can get still, because you should be getting additional rounds of it for rent, utilities, food, and internet. Here we go. This is third stimulus. As soon as third stimulus became law, I told the viewers of this channel, third stimulus check, $1,400, cool, very cool, very cute, but I prefer $15,000, and I can show you how to get $15,000 in the third stimulus. Viewers on average are getting $45,000 from third stimulus. And here are the breakdowns about 2 months ago. $27,000 to $20,000 for rent, but now people are getting upwards of $40,000 and they're getting 3 rounds across the board. You're going to reach out to the following 6 places: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Next, you want to get some money for utilities. These are the numbers about 2 months ago. But now you saw Mark and his brother-in-law getting in excess of $15,000. You want to continue to get this money. You want to get 1, 2, 3 rounds. I have a lot of viewers who have gotten 3 rounds of this money. Then SNAP, you want to get it. Department of Agriculture, reach out to get it. And yeah, you met now Mark, who's getting $28,000 a year. Over the next 10 years, he will get over $250,000 of money for food because he watched this channel. You want to get multiple sums of money because you don't want to just get one. Here are my combo people. Here's Mark. About 2 months ago, he's now at about $100,000. He's doubled that. Lorraine, this is her then. She's about $120,000. How do you get these sums of money? How do you learn a little bit more about how you get these sums of money? It's by becoming a member to this channel. This channel is like no place else on the planet. This is what I've been doing since day one with EIDL, then then PPP, PUA. I've gotten people big sums of money. There's one thing I know is how to get people money. For stimulus recon, when it becomes law, I will be focused on getting you this upwards of $15,000. I'm following every penny, as you and I are. Hope you're taking notes on the videos of the monies you can get on the fourth stimulus. But for now, third stimulus is still paying. So consider becoming a member and get that Lalate newsletter. Monday through Friday. It features all the big money under third stimulus. And that money for third stimulus is still paying. The newsletter features the money for the nonprofits, features the Treasury statement, and features everything you need to know to look at this big money under third stimulus, from rent, utilities, food, internet, the nonprofits, and more. Consider becoming a member and get that newsletter, which goes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the Lalate alert system, which is totally free and also in the description of this video. And with that, as we go into a big evening, my commentary of the situation, very telling across the board what's going on. What's going on right now is really an attempt to get things pushed forward. People know what they want in there, and there's enough people saying, I want something in there. It's a day like this where you wonder, why should I advocate? If the provision's not in there, why should I advocate, said one viewer this morning. Then why should the Duchess of Sussex, who I butchered and said the Duchess of Cambridge? I mean, next I'll say, yeah. Why is the Duchess of Cambridge advocating? Because she thinks it's important. Why is Nancy advocating? Because she wants it in there. Why is Bernie advocating? Because he wants provisions in there. Advocation starts here and doesn't end here. The recon is a very fluid situation, and the more phone calls you make, the better you make. If anyone wants to get Chris and Gillibrand on the phone and say, hey, let's get Lalate to start calling people and say, get this provision in there, I will do it. Whatever you can do, whatever we can do as a family, it works. But for now, there's about $15,000 of checks across those three clusters, and those checks continue to grow by the hour and by the day as more provisions are added. We're still seeking to add a lot more, and we'll continue to add a lot more. Coming up next is Evening's Countdown, our 6 o'clock show, and then we go into Stream Stimulus at 7 o'clock. It's a triple header, 3 hours of programming. It's our binge watch video section tonight. You can sit back, and one video will take you to the next. Then I'm back with you with shows all throughout the night at 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30 tonight, all about your fourth stimulus recon. The same provisions. In fact, last night's videos were the very first ones about fifth stimulus. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening, and stay with Lalate for more.